Okay, so finally got to see X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah, even after days ago, I kind of spoiled myself on the movie. Well, some elements of the movie, I was kind of like, you know what? Well, actually, it wasn't more like a you know what moment. It was more like, I went out with my parents to go see this movie. Yeah, by parents, it's usually just me and my dad, but this is I think the second time that my mom went tagged along with us to see this movie, a superhero movie. The other time was as I remember right, it was Avengers: Age of Ultron, and she didn't really care much for that movie because it was too much continuity for her to follow. This, however, this is like one of the first times I've seen her go, "Oh, that was a nice movie." I don't know if she was just actually. Well, I know when she's just being nice. This time, it actually felt kind of genuine for her. I think and it's actually kind of funny because she told me her favorite sequence in the movie was the intro scene of them going through that time tunnel, kind of, with all the montage, and that was actually a really cool montage. I'll give them that. That's the thing with a Bryan Singer movie, a Bryan Singer X-Men movie. It's gonna have some really cool stuff in it. But aside from that, yeah. So obviously, I'm going to spoil this movie a bit because it's been a few weeks out. Now, this movie has been getting a lot of flack of not living up to the hype. I disagree. I actually kind of like this movie. It's kind of like... there's actually kind of funny, because there's a Return of the Jedi joke in here, and it's kind of meta on all three movies, where they say the third one sucks. But even Return of the Jedi is really good. And that's kind of the thing, is that... The way I look at it is that... It's the same way I rank the original trilogy of Star Wars. You've got... the second movie is probably the best. The first one's usually the good one. And then the third one is kind of at the bottom. But it still has its merits. Kind of like with Dark Knight, also with the Dark Knight trilogy, where you've got Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and then Dark Knight Rises. Not to say they're bad films altogether. I mean, I've seen worse trilogies, Clone Wars trilogy, but not Clone Wars trilogy. Ugh. I mean the prequel trilogy. Excuse me. Yeah, the prequel trilogy. But yeah. I think this was still a really good movie. I feel like Bryan Singer got to do what he wanted with some of the characters, and at the same time, I feel like there was stuff he still wanted to do with this movie, but I feel like the studio kind of rushed him into doing other stuff. I feel like that whole Wolverine scene, which was still pretty awesome, seeing the Weapon X costume. I wish we had more of the helmet, though, but still, seeing the Weapon X costume, I was like, oh, that's so cool, and that was a pretty brutal scene. I was like, yeah, I can roll with that. I mean, yeah, I know it was probably the studio told him to do this as setup, but yeah. Anyway, what else did I want to say? Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, he was awesome. The one thing I have the one problem I have with him is that he was a little too small. I was kind of hoping he would be bigger, and you could say, oh, but he got bigger. Yeah, in the psychic war between him and Xavier, but I was kind of hoping they would make him a little bigger. Even when he's standing with some of his horsemen, he's shorter in some of them. And that's kind of the thing. You want Apocalypse to be big and imposing. So I was kind of hoping that he would make himself a little bit bigger, and that's not too hard to do. We've seen that in 300 and Lord of the Rings, so making him a little bit bigger, CGI-wise, would have been cool. But his performance really... that's a minor nitpick at best with the size thing. That's just a tiny nitpick. But Oscar Isaac's performance as Apocalypse made me forget the size of whatsoever. He was so intimidating. He was aggressive. And I loved when the more angrier he got, the more his voice changed. So yeah, Oscar Isaac's performance as Apocalypse made me forget the whole size thing. The Horsemen. Archangel, Psylocke, Storm, and Magneto. Outside of Magneto, we don't really get much for the others. Storm gets a little bit because she's the first one Apocalypse finds. But they don't do jack shit with Archangel. And if I'm right, I think they killed Archangel. I was like, really? We're shafting him again for a second time? Did you learn nothing from X-Men 3, Singer? I know that wasn't his movie. But I feel like, yeah, you could have redeemed him after The Last Stand, but come on. You at least they did more with him here than they did Last Stand, but that wasn't much. They did jack shit with Psylocke, which I guess they'll save her for an X-Force movie, because I was afraid real quick they were going to kill her off. But I was like, oh, thank God she's still alive. So maybe we'll see her in Deadpool 2. Maybe we'll see her in an X-Force movie. Who knows? But yeah, Olivia Munn didn't really stand out. It wasn't that she gave a bad performance. She just didn't do... The character did nothing. So, yeah. Sorry, Psylocke fans. But again, Michael Fassbender as Magneto is probably one of the best. Him and James McAvoy's dichotomy as Xavier and Magneto is still one of the best things in this trilogy from the the First Class trilogy. So when they did all this, I love the moments, especially Michael Fassbender as Magneto. You see him living a life, having a family, having children. It's all there for him, and he's lost it all. And Michael Fassbender just kills it in every scene. Sometimes figuratively and literally. And sometimes both at the same time. And this is also a film that really kind of pushes the PG-13 boundary, especially with some of the scenes with Magneto and Wolverine. And that opening scene, oh my god, there are just some brutal deaths in that one. Like, I feel like Singer was playing Mortal Kombat X while he was looked at, like, Ermac's fatality. And he was like, I'm putting that in the movie. Right there. That's in the movie. But anyway, Jennifer Lawrence, she's there, and I'm not really feeling the whole Mystique is now like a Messiah. Well, not really a Messiah type character, but more like she's now a role model for all the other mutants. And I feel like her story didn't really go anywhere other than I need to be true to myself, and we don't really get much of Blue Mystique. And I understand, yeah, that I'd imagine that makeup is a bitch to put on, but still. I don't know, it's just like, thankfully it didn't fully become the Mystique show, at least for me, it didn't fully become the Mystique show like some of the trailers were portraying it as. The other characters playing Nightcrawler and Cyclops and all of them, I feel like Ty Sheardon, the actor playing Cyclops, he was pretty good. I wish they gave him a little more to do, but I did like how he and Nightcrawler and Jean played off each other, like that trio played off each other, and Sophie Turner, oh my god, she's amazing as Jean Grey. I want more movies with her. Yeah, Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, I was like, you're Jean Grey, right there. So I thought she was amazing. She really managed to capture the power as well as the terror Jean Grey feels of that power kind of welling up inside her. I'm also surprised we're doing the whole Phoenix as the dark side of, is Jean's dark side again, rather than doing cosmic energy. But then again, there was a scene where when she's killing Apocalypse, Apocalypse says, now I understand. You see like almost this cosmic energy radiating from Jean, so maybe they'll, Singer clearly wants to do the Apocalypse story, so maybe we'll get that in a later film, because he is taking a break from the X-Men films, but he has said he's coming back. So here's hoping you do a really good job. Yeah. Basically, I know I'm not really covering much, but the movie's been out for a while. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I still think Days of Future Past is the better of the three films. I think it's the best. But this was pretty good. If I was to rank it, it would probably be Days of Future Past, First Class, and then this movie. But that's not to say just because it's at the bottom doesn't mean it's a terrible movie. It's just, there were some flaws, there were some pacing issues. I feel like it took a little bit to get going, but after they got to Alkali Lake, I feel like it kind of focused in on itself. But the performances did save that opening film. I mean, the opening scenes, especially with Michael Fassbender as Magneto. And again, Oscar Isaac, I feel like he really did a good job as Apocalypse. But yeah, I did enjoy this film. But at the same time, I can understand why people didn't care much for Apocalypse. I can understand why not a lot of people cared for it. I liked it. I still think Civil War has probably been the best superhero movie I've seen. But still, I'm not saying this is bad. I'm not saying this is bad. This was a pretty good film. I enjoyed it. Yeah, and it's a pretty decent... We had finally a good X-Men trilogy. There you go. We have finally a good X-Men trilogy. But anyway, guys, so you guys tell me, what did you guys think of X-Men Apocalypse? Do you guys like it? Do you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know, and I will see you guys later.